special friend here today with me, and we're just gonna talk about the Suicide Squad. Totally go into spoilers because I haven't been able to do that yet on here, except for in my video. And we're also gonna talk about What If, because it just came out today and it was really freaking good. So Leo is here. Leo, why don't you let everyone know where to find you?
What's up, y'all? You can find me over at Geekly Goods on YouTube, and then of course on Twitter. Well, on Twitter, I used to be at Leo Rydell, but find me at rejected_Leo. You'll see why I'm rejected Leo now. And then on Instagram and on TikTok, you can find me at Leo.Rydell. Y'all, there are so many social media platforms. It's hard to remember them all. But what's up, y'all?
It's ridiculous. I'm always like I have people like, are you going to join this? You're going to join that? No, I'm done. I'm done joining.
And Twitch and this and that.
Crazy.
Like,
It's enough. It's enough, people. There's too many. Like, let's stop. I think we're good. We got it all.
Hit the brakes a little bit, my man. Just a little.
Real quick, I want to address, I just told you this before we came up, but everybody, one of my lights just went out. So it's a little darker in here than usual. I tried. I was like, I don't have time to be changing light bulbs.
Timing.
It's always timing. So it's a little darker, but I tried to make it a little brighter in here. So hopefully it worked a little bit. But I'm excited to see you guys all in the chat. But real quick, let's start off with the Suicide Squad. I want to know, someone asked me this question and I'm having a very hard time figuring it out. So I want your response. What is your favorite death in the Suicide Squad?
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a hard one. I think for unexpected writing's sake, it broke my heart to see Polka Dot Man bite the dust. Definitely not my favorite death, but I just think for like a technical standpoint of pacing, plot, and writing, I liked that death because it was like unexpected. Nobody saw it coming. And of course, right when he said, I'm a superhero, I'm finally a superhero, he dies. I think my favorite death is probably Savant, just because it has the title card and the bird comes right back around from the beginning when he threw the ball at that bird. That same type bird comes back and like eats a little bit of his guts. I think that was like such a funny moment and such a James Gunn like moment. And that beach scene is like X-Force extended. So that was just like a fun batch of deaths to watch happen. What about you?
Oh, I know it's hard. I've got to say, I did love Savants because I thought that was the first time we saw the writing, which we see several times throughout. And I thought that was perfect. Weasel to me was just, I think I didn't expect a death so fast. I think it's like 4 minutes in or something crazy. And it's because he can't swim. But I don't know if he counts because he's like alive at the end. So does that even count? I don't know.
Oh my gosh. My theater was cracking up when he was splashing around in the water and Joe Kinnaman was like, did we check if the weasel could swim?
I know. It was so good. And then Mongol on fire. Like, that was crazy. Man. She's in there like, burning. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. I will say, if we're going off the Suicide Squad, I would say Luna is one of my, like, I was not expecting Harley to just kill him like that.
That was quick. And the fact that that was such a Harley Quinn moment. And I know that there's a little bit of criticism in that moment, especially with how Harley got with them really quickly. But I loved that monologue she had over his dead body with the blood like coming. I'm like, that's totally Harley Quinn right there. And that's one thing that James Gunn captured right is he got the Harley Quinn part of that character right. I don't think he explores the Doctor as much, but the Harley Quinn jester, I'm going to kill you if I see a red flag type of character was very well presented. And that was just such a good moment.
I loved it. And she's basically, going off about, it's obviously the effect that Joker had on her. And she's been doing some growth since then, right? Like, she's basically like, I was in this toxic relationship. I have grown as a person and I need to kill you. And then the last part of it, he's sitting there bleeding to death. And she's like, you look so much more beautiful like this with those ugly thoughts out of your head. I'm like, Harley,
and he's just crawling like, oh my God, help me.
Yes, he's like dying. I know what you would say. Why didn't you just leave me instead? And like, she has this full conversation. It's just so... It's hard. Like you said, it's perfect, right? And Ronnie even says here that James should do another Harley project with Margot. I mean, I think it was her best writing and directing. And I think Margot Robbie just was born to play Harley anyway.
That's up there with RDJ, Hugh Jackman. Like that's up there with like the best of the best castings. Like she's perfect for the role. And she really introduced Harley Quinn to the mainstream. Because I mean, people knew, oh, Batman TAS is what introduced her and yada yada. People knew Harley Quinn a little bit, but like Margot's Harley Quinn just opened it up to pop culture and really established that character as like a well-known, popular character amongst comic book characters, even outside of their comic books. Like what a revolution. You remember Comic-Con?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The same year as the Suicide Squad.
Suicide. Yes.
There was Harley Quinns everywhere you go. It's like every little peripheral you have, there's a Harley Quinn.
Of course. Listen, and that was the thing too. So I love Harley, and I've always wanted, I think I've told you this, my oldest daughter is Ivy after Poison Ivy. And so I have a Poison Ivy tattoo.
Oh yeah. It's awesome.
See? So I've always wanted to do like a Gotham City Sirens, so which is Catwoman, Harley, and Poison Ivy tattoo. And I have Poison Ivy on there. And I hated Suicide Squad so much that I like put off getting Harley for a while because I was like, I don't want people to think I liked that movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna wait. And I want classic Harley, but I still was like, I don't want people to think I enjoyed that movie.
How did you feel seeing her in the classic red and black? Like, what a cool play on her character.
I was so happy to see it, but I am also glad that he took her out of it quick enough that like, I think it was a nice nod to it, and I love that dress. Of course, I ended up getting the her universe version of it, but I love it. And it's funny because I was watching it and I'm like, well, when does she end up like ripping it? And then that scene, she's breaking out.
So good. And just like taking her feet and sneaking and grabbing the keys. Like, this is so Harley Quinn. Unpredictable, brave, willing, capable of saving herself, which, by the way, I think a counter to what happened a little bit earlier with her, falling for the guy pretty quickly. I think a counter to that is later on in the movie, she saves herself. Like the Suicide Squad doesn't need to actually, do all their over the top plans and scale buildings and all this stuff. Harley can save herself. She took two heavy artillery pieces and it got out of there pretty quickly. Amazing character moment.
It was so good. And I think with her, she loves hard. And like, I think that's her and that's her character. Yep. And so like, she did, but she was always in control with Luna. I mean, there was never a moment where he was going to completely manipulate her. I don't think. I think she was kind of like, she's a little smart too. Like people try to play her off as dumb. She's extremely smart. She's like a freaking doctor. I mean, she's very smart. She's just a little crazy, but I don't think there was ever a moment where like, maybe she like kind of fell for him, but I think that's her. I mean, look at her even with the friends. After she broke out, she was literally going to go back in so that they could do their plan and save her.
I'll go back in, guys, if you want to do it.
She probably would have tied herself up she would have done it.
Now that you talk about that would have been kind of funny. If there was like a what if scenario almost that like played back. Man. He's got like 20 minutes of just cutting room floor stuff at least. Just a bunch of cutting room floor stuff that just is probably gold.
Yeah, I'm sure. What did you think about the like all the cartoon birds and flowers and stuff as she was breaking out?
Beautiful. I thought that was such a cool montage. You have this just like her gunning down all these guys and then this kind of almost peaceful moment when the flowers rise up behind her back and the cinematography is amazing throughout that entire sequence. Great editing. Love the cutting. And I love that we get a long enough pause on these shots to actually like see the action executed. Because man, sorry, Black Widow. I did really like Black Widow, but the cutting and the action later in the movie, not nearly as good. But this was elegant. I love the colors. And I love how he can make it colorful, yet extremely gory and violent in one time.
And she's like stabbing people with the javelin, like blood and flowers are spewing out of them, and you're just like, I imagine that's what Harley sees when she does it too. Like, it felt very like this is her peripheral.
Yep.
Like, this is what she sees when she kills people. James is here.
What up, James?
James says James Gunn directed the heck out of that movie. Listen, that's the thing. I think he was so good. Also, yes, let's go, James. Oh man, oh yeah, when she hugged Rick and he rubs her back with a gun. I know,
Right.
like the whole thing. It's so good. It's just so good, and I felt like it was done so well. And then, especially if you compare it to the 2016 Suicide Squad, it's like,
what do you think was a lot better this time? I guess that's like a loaded question, but like, what's one thing that really stood out about this Suicide Squad that Suicide Squad 2016 just got completely wrong?
So for me, it would be like character development and making you care about characters, because I think there were people they threw in there that if you don't know the comics, you really have no clue who they are in the first one. And then to even sort of explain, like they did such a good job, James Gunn did such a good job of making you care about pretty much every character. And every character, no matter how long they were around, had a moment, right? I would have loved to see more of Pete Davidson. I think he's hilarious, but he had his moments. Like his, when he's reaching for the thing, he's like, oh, to the guard. Like,
He got popped. Oh my God.
I know. But I just love that. I feel like, Javelin had his moment, like Boomerang even had his moment. I mean, everyone had their moment, even if they were in it for a very brief time, where in the 2016 version, it was just like, I don't know who these people are. And now, like, I don't care about them. You haven't told me anything. Like, I feel like we got somewhat of a backstory, or at least an explanation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the character writing is horrible in that first one. I mean, the first 30 minutes of that first one is an extended trailer. Like, it's just, let's try to explain these characters to you in the best way possible, in your face, with all these pretty graphics. And then we go into actual character on character relationships, and they're stiff, they're awkward. Rick Flag has the weirdest resolution of all of them. Him just being like, my wife's the Enchantress. That was the weirdest twist in any of these DCEU films, I think. Like, it's just like,
it didn't make sense.
Really?
You're just like, what? They never set up for it. Like, like, at least set up for it. Don't just be like, and this is fact. You're like, wait, what?
Rick Flag's the leader. He's the guy. And he's like, yo, I'm going to take this Suicide Squad and we're going to take them out. Oh, by the way, my wife's the main. What?
You're like, wait, what? I'm so confused. Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Oh, listen, this is a good idea. I would love to see Dave Bautista as Bane.
My God.
I think he would be perfect. And to put James Gunn with it, like, yes, please. Yes, Ronnie, this is perfect. Exactly kind of like what Leo was saying, right? Actually cared about Rick Flag. I cried when he died. I was really upset. I was mad at Peacemaker. I was like, what are you doing? Killing people.
Oh, Peacemaker.
I know. It's not really a prequel or a sequel. It's kind of,
I kind of saw it as a small blend of both.
Yeah, it's kind of, and James Gunn has said it's not either. And like, you don't have to watch the first one. And please, if you haven't, just don't do that to yourself. Just don't watch it. Trust us. Like, you don't need to. So, and because really Rick Flag is like completely different in this. So it's hard to say, because obviously it's the same Harley. I would say it's not really either.
It's a Birds of Prey continuation of Harley, if anything.
Yes,
that 2016. Right. He came in and just took that white erase board they had for continuity for Harley Quinn and just erased 2016.
Yeah, he's like, no, we're good. We don't need this.
Yeah, the part that caught me was like, oh, this has to be a sequel, is a couple of interactions. The first one being when Harley steps on the helicopter and Boomerang's like, oh, you're back, Harles. And like, they have that pretty small exchange. And then Rick Flag later in the movie kind of hinting at that he had worked with Harley before. I'm like, okay, so sounds like it's like a very, very, very loose sequel to the first one.
Like maybe the first one happened and that's how they know each other, but you don't need to watch it and you're good. Like, that's really kind of.
Yeah, well, if you love Captain Boomerang from that first one, woo. Read the fine print. They said don't get attached.
Right. Do not get attached. I mean, that's literally like in the trailers and stuff, isn't it? It's like, just don't get attached to these people.
So how did you feel when Rick Flag died? Because I feel like that was specifically for him.
I was not happy when he died because I did get completely attached to him. Yeah. And I really love him. And I was like, man, but I think, I mean, I get why. I think it was important. I think it was important for Peacemaker, his story, especially with, we're going to be getting the show for Peacemaker. So like, I understand it. I don't forgive it, but I understand it, if that makes sense. And if Ratcatcher had died, which I really seriously thought he was going to kill her. And I thought either, you know, when he was like going to shoot her, and Sebastian was there, I thought for sure Sebastian the rat was jumping in front of the bullet, and I was like, I can't.
I think I might have walked out for a minute. Like I need a breath.
I was like, do not kill the rat. Which I'm so glad they didn't. Caroline says she loved Ratcatcher too. Yeah, I mean, listen, heart of the movie.
Oh yeah, favorite of my favorite personally of the movie. Look, I loved Idris Elba as Bloodsport. Yes. He's fantastic. King Shark's great. Amazing little scene where he rips the body in half. Yes. That's so good. But Ratcatcher too, what an unexpected, heartfelt character. And when I see Sebastian like scaling on Star, I was like, shit, is Sebastian dead, guys?
I know. I thought Sebastian was gonna die. I was so glad he didn't, because like I would have just been devastated. And I liked that we got a little bit of Taika in here. I would love more, and I would love some kind of prequel story, but just what we got of him. And speaking of Taika, like, okay, this just came into my head. How gorgeous was that shot?
Oh my goodness!
In the bus, when you see it in the window, like that was
beautifully
so
done.
The cinematography, like that was watching the story play out as she's telling it, and you see her fit. Like, oh, it was so good.
Like that's like an expert way of lowering transparency in another shot and another scene, and just blending it into the scene without it looking weird, or it just totally plays so naturally as she's saying it. And I liked that better than I would have liked it just cutting back to like a scene of the two of them. Because then when it's Taika later, it's like, oh, okay. And if they revealed it to be Taika early on, it wouldn't have that same cadence. But the fact that they just blended it in with a stand-in actor, I'm assuming, and then later on it being Taika Waititi, that was perfectly executed. No hints, no drops on social media, nothing.
I know, because everyone was like, I mean, I remember that was like the question I got the most after my screening was, who's Taika play? Who does Taika play? Who's Taika? You know, because and I was like, I'm not telling you. Like, you got to experience it for yourself, you know?
Right.
Yes, I noticed it. So I definitely noticed it right away. And it was funny because I was there with Chris from Tate's Takes on here. And then also Andrea, who I've had on here before as well. And there was the three of us sitting there, and we all went, "Is that Mantis?" Like to each other at the same time. We're like, "Jinx, that was it." But you know, I loved that. I like that he sticks this. Some people don't like when they put the same people in, but I think it's fun.
I think it's cool, and it shows that like a director is maybe not as, I don't want to say easy, but a director has good relationships with the actors they've worked with before. And it sounds to me like most of the people James has worked with are very willing to come back and do more projects with them. And yeah, as soon as I saw her on the stage, I'm like, that's Palm.
Yeah, I know. I was so excited to see her. And even like, I know he had offered a spot. I don't know how big, probably not a big role, but to Dave Bautista, but he couldn't because he was filming with Zack Snyder. So,
Army. Yeah.
And I saw him be like, it was a really hard decision, but like, you know, he had not worked with Zack Snyder before. So of course.
And he's trying to move into like some more serious roles, some more heartfelt stuff. When he was saying that, I'm like, but Dave, you're in the middle of an action movie. But anyway.
It's true. It's true. But I think he's like, that's another whole conversation for another day. But I think he's really blossoming as an actor. I think it's definitely improving too. Like you can see it like in the more stuff he does. Groot and Harley team up. Listen.
Oh my God.
And King Shark. Like King Shark was
Groot, King Shark. Oh my God. You just have some shorts with them and just let them go.
I know. I'll tell you what, King Shark, like his growth in this, like learning about friends and like the heart of it, you know, and all because of Ratcatcher too. I mean, they would have just, I mean, I don't think you can't really kill him. He's a demigod, but they would have maybe tried. But when what was the line she said to him? She was like, it was something like, if I die gambling on love, it would have been a worthy death.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, so my heart.
So good. This is a good script, by the way. The screenplay for this is amazing. And I think I realized that when Bloodsport and his daughter were like arguing, and it was just this back and forth, fuck you. And I'm like, This is brilliant. You give two great actors this shit, and they could just riff off each other and make it sound and feel so tense but funny at the same time. James Gunn, man, genius. Bring him back to DC to do Justice Society of America or something obscure as hell. Doom Patrol. Oh my God, if he did Doom Patrol, woo,
I saw someone say that the other day, and I was like, I would love to see him, especially like. You think about the Doom Patrol show we've gotten. You just imagine like a scale of a movie with James Gunn behind it. Like, oh my goodness.
Him working with Brendan Fraser.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Oh, dream team.
I know. I mean, I literally would take James Gunn doing anything. I mean, he's so good. And I feel like he's getting better as a writer and stuff too. And he's really finding his groove with these off the wall ensemble movies, you know, like Guardians, and people keep asking me my ranking, and I'm having a hard time because I do want to rank my James Gunn movies, but I'm really having a hard time on if I like this more over Guardians. I go back and forth.
Yeah,
it's hard.
I don't know about Guardians 1. Definitely Guardians 2, but Guardians 1, no, I just don't know. I think there was a magic moment with Guardians 1 that just it's hard to top. It's just hard. Like, man, he got to kind of, be free in this one and be gory as he wanted and go over the top. But that first Guardians, that relationship and the ragtag team of characters, that's just hard to beat.
It is hard to beat. But you know me and my gore and my blood obsession. That is where I get where it makes it hard for me because obviously we didn't get that really with Guardians. But man, there are so many good moments in Guardians.
And the music in Guardians, look, I love the music in this movie, but the music
music in Guardians is better. The music in Guardians is better. If we're going pure music, for sure. I feel like there's so much. What I loved about this, too, we didn't even really talk about it, is Peacemaker and Bloodsport, just their dynamic. Literally the whole time. From the moment Amanda Waller is introducing them and literally describes them exactly the same, which I thought was so great. I love how Idris is just like, wait, you just told me everyone's picked for their unique ability. He does exactly what I do. Like,
but I do it better. Puts chest out and walks out the door. I'm like, dude, this is perfect. This is perfect.
And then it just keeps getting like.
It's just a dick measuring contest throughout the entire movie.
Literally exactly what it is, especially that scene where they're killing all the freedom fighters or whatever you want to call.
Oh my God, wasn't that such a good scene until you figure out, oh shit, those were the freedom fighters? It like when they pull back the curtain and he's having a drink with Sosoria, you just like, oh my fucking goodness. No.
I was dying because and then oh man, there's so much to think about when it comes to this, but when everyone is like denying it, we didn't see anybody. And then Polka Dot Man's just like, I pictured they were my mom and killed them. And you're like, oh.
And then King Shark burps up a finger to top it all off. It's just like, well, that's what happened to this. Sosoria was kind of not really in the movie that much. She kind of was like a character that was built up on posters and all that, and kind of it's like, oh, okay, she's like a freedom fighter.
Of characters, I think, is part of it, and I do think a lot of it is they tried to spend a lot of time with Peacemaker because they know we're getting the show.
Yep.
Is my thought too.
Make him a center.
I'm curious I don't even know when they announced it, but I wonder if going into this, like, did he know Peacemaker was getting a show? You know what I mean? Or at least partly while writing it.
Do you think he'll be able to pull that alone? No, I'm a little.
I don't think it's going to be him alone. I bet you there's a lot of cameos in it.
Okay, so you think maybe it's people from this movie, or like?
I think it's going to be. So they've been saying it's a prequel, but I think that was to throw us all off.
Yeah,
I think it's definitely a sequel. The way they ended it, maybe. I think that end credit scene, and I think, we're going to end up with like Amanda Waller in it. I think we're really going to end up with a lot of people making appearances here and there anyway.
Okay. Because I was kind of like, I don't know about him for like 12 episodes. I don't know.
I know. I bet you we get a lot of people, a lot of cameos, and then also new people, because James Gunn loves to give us the most obscure, crazy shit he can think of.
Drop some nuggets, James. Right. Drop some nuggets.
I just can't wait. So Ted says, did Sly do the mocap? He didn't. It was what's his name? Steve.
It wasn't.
He's in the movie.
It
But
wasn't
he also
Sean Gunn, was it? Because I know he did Weasel.
He did
I don't
Weasel.
know who
It
did
was
King Shark, to be honest.
King Shark was Steve. I always say his name wrong. I think it's Aggie. He's the one who's in. He's also in the like he works for Amanda Waller. You know that one? Him?
Oh, the dude with the glasses?
Yes. He actually did the mocap for it too.
Oh shit.
That's because I saw a picture and I was like, oh. I think James Gunn posted some behind the scenes pictures not too long ago. And I know. Like, well, I guess they already had him on set, so they might as well just it's easy. And King Shark and him never interact. So
what was the moment you figured out that first round of people were dead? What was like the moment that you're like, they're dead?
I think when Harley stood up and was like, okay, when Amanda Waller was like, you guys are a strong team, just do it anyway. And Harley was like, all right. She's got like the big flamethrower. I was like, oh yeah, they're all gonna die. Not Harley, obviously, but I was like, oh yeah, this is because if they had been like, okay, retreat, but as soon as she was like, no, go for it, I was like, oh no, they're all screwed. Like, they're all gonna die. There's no way.
No way they're making it out of it. As soon as that they were on that flag and he was introducing everybody, I'm like, each and every one of them is dead.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right. There's no way they're gonna make it out. And I was a little surprised that Boomerang was gone so quickly, but
yeah. I didn't find myself missing him. Like, oh shit, we're mid-movie. I wish we had Boomerang.
Right.
Woo!
At first, I was like, oh, that's sad. And then I was like, whatever. Javelin, I would have liked to see a little more of just because I love Flula. Like, he's so funny.
Yeah.
But I think what he got was perfect too. So.
What a cool character. And he's hardly shaking him and shit.
Why do I carry this? Like what? And then she tells the guys they capture her, and she's like, "You don't understand. This is really annoying. You just told me I had to carry this, and then he died." And it's like
one little, I guess, irk I kind of had with that moment is I was like, okay, they captured her, but Sosoria's people captured Flag. I was like, aren't they kind of close in proximity? Like that,
right?
I think that was one little like pacing error. I thought was like, oh. How did he get captured by Sosoria's, but she got captured by the Presidente? I don't know. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because they would have all been close together. Aw, James wanted more. Boomerang. As soon as Boomy was dead and he was on the ground screaming with the spikes in, I was like, "Uh-oh, he's dead." And then kind of just was, that's that for me.
I like this comment. Listen, I know what he said.
I mean,
I'm telling you, it's so okay. This is a loaded question. This is hard.
So for me, oh man, I would say the entire Task Force X, because let's be real, the Suicide Squad is the people who died in the beginning of the movie.
Right.
Task Force X is Bloodsport, everybody else, and I think each and every one of them carried it together.
I think so too. Yeah, I can't pick one.
They all had very strong moments. King Shark had his moments. Ratcatcher 2 was the heart of the team. Bloodsport was the great leader. Man, when him and Amanda Waller, he took that pin out the holder and got to her neck. I was like, what a moment. But I think everybody had their moments and they all kind of just blend together really well. Even Pokey. Yeah. Pokey was awesome.
I know. That's the thing. That's what I loved about it. And again, this is what they did so much better than the first one, right? Literally every single person gets their moment and you get to enjoy them.
For that first one, what did El Diablo do besides actually power up and beat the enemy?
I don't think anything.
Nothing. He didn't do
nothing that I recall.
Killer Croc didn't do shit either. I'm just like, okay, so we just got 3 or 4 characters lingering around in the background, not doing a thing.
Oh, geez. Look at this. Ted says that James Gunn said Margot did her escape scene. And I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Margot Robbie did her own stunts in that sequence. And it looks good too. Like it helps the continuity of shots and cutting.
Especially because it's a lot of like it's close up.
Yeah,
so they
real
close.
Had to
really,
would have been awkward if it was like somebody else's.
Somebody totally different. You're like,
shoots the back of her head the whole time. You're like, that ain't Margot's head.
You can always tell when they're doing stuff in like close up shots and when it's not the person because it's like the back of their head, like their ear. You're like,
you're like, that ain't Margot.
Right, exactly. Ronnie says the scene with the little stars in the lab was creepy as hell.
Oh.
It was dark. The people there, when like the faces are cut out, or it's like half a body, and like those were crazy.
When they all opened their mouths and were just like, I was like, what the fuck is happening?
I'm like, this is like a horror movie, and I love it.
Dude.
I loved that. I clicked the wrong one, and someone commented at the same time. So I was going to say, James says if he had to pick one person, it would be Ratcatcher 2. And I think I agree. It's so hard though.
They just all have such succinct personalities, and this is right. I mean, this is what great characters and great chemistry among them does. When you write these characters so well, and each one of them has these individual beats and moments and pieces in the script where they just shine. It's so hard to pick one. She was definitely the heart of the team and kept the team glued together. But I just think in the movie as a whole, you got so many good moments out of all.
Yeah, you got so many. And like Polka Dot as a savior. Yeah. Like, I mean, listen, when he pictures his mom banging into the, like, it was so good. It's funny. So I will say, my husband, who's always way more critical of things than me for the most part, was very annoyed with when he would see the mom, and he was like, I don't like this, like with the team. And then again in the club, he's like, why is he picturing his mom with these girls he's dancing with? I don't like this. And then at the end, when you get the giant, like the mom as Starro, he was like, okay, no, now it all works. Like, and then he like forgave it from the past. And I was like, yeah, because he's like, that was funny. Like, that was really perfect.
Great payoff.
Like, you got to trust in James Gunn that he knows what he's doing.
He breadcrumbs you. He'll breadcrumb you for a little while and then lead to something huge.
I know. Oh man. Let's see. I saw a comment here. With the rats in Star's eyes. Listen, but then here's the thing. Speaking of James Gunn, like, did you not feel sorry for Starro at the end? Because I did, when he was like, I was happy just floating amongst the stars. And I'm like, yeah. And then these astronauts had to like bring you in.
Oh yeah, that was rough. Like, I thought you meant when he was like, I'm taking over that city. I'm like, no, he could die. Yeah,
he was like, he says, I was happy floating amongst the stars.
Oh, little Starro, and they just ripped him out of the sky. Like, psych.
Right.
Hopefully they do Jarro at some point. Like, maybe if Ben's Batman comes back up, he's been incubating a little Starro in the back.
There you go. That's actually, listen, that's a good, Leo. You should
Jarro with a little Robin shirt on. He's like, I'm the best Robin, Dad.
Oh, excited for the Peacemaker series. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. If like what I think happens, I think there'll be more. Like, I get what you're saying, Leo. It might be hard for him to carry it all himself, but I'm sure we'll get cameos and new characters.
With Gunn behind it, we gotta get some more people. And I hope it'd be cool, like, even if they pull over characters from other shows, like take a Doom Patrol character or a Titans character or like I hate to even talk about this, but a Green Lantern's character, maybe introduce them there. And
maybe James can fix it. You don't even have that much confidence in him, Leo.
I'm like, what are they doing with Green Lanterns? It was supposed to be a DCEU movie. There was supposed to be a Green Lantern 2 follow-up. Now we're stuck here. We're in this Lanterns world where there's supposed to be a show on HBO Max. And nothing has happened. They didn't announce shit on Fandom. They haven't said anything on social media, but besides 2 castings during the Ray Fisher drama. And I'm just like, come on, man. Can we just get somebody coming out and saying we're working on Green Lanterns? It's happening. There's nothing. Absolutely nothing.
There's been nothing. Listen, total side note, it's still Green Lantern related, but did you see the there was like a promo for Free Guy. They were talking about talking to Taika and Ryan, and they're like, we've never worked together before. And they're like, yeah, you did work together. That movie, Green Lantern. They're like, that wasn't us. You're thinking of the Green Arrow movie. And I was like, and that wasn't us. I was like, oh my gosh.
They shit on Green Lantern so much. Just the fact that Deadpool had the one line, don't make the super suit green, and him shooting himself at the end of 2. I'm like, dude, they fucking love shitting on Green Lantern whenever they
do. It's so good. I am finally going to see Free Guy when it actually comes to theaters on Thursday night. So
I'm seeing it tonight.
You all? Well, have you seen it already or no?
I'm seeing it tonight, and I'm pretty excited. I go into every video game movie though with low expectations.
Right. I mean, I don't think it's going to be
like the best,
mind-blowing,
right?
But I think
oh my god, this is cinema,
game changer. Whoa, no, but it'll be enjoyable. That's what I think too. Oh, let's see. Listen, James Gunn needs to be the Kevin Feige of the DCU. I mean, I wouldn't be upset.
Not at all.
By it.
Not at all. Him and Kathy should just team up and be the heads.
Listen,
let Kathy do Gotham City Sirens, Batgirl.
That's what I want so badly. I see a comment Ted made about Stargirl, but I know that Leo hasn't seen it yet, so I'm not going to put it up.
No, hold on, Ted.
But yes, Ted, I see it. I'm not ignoring it. I'm just letting you know.
By the way, hey, Ted and Andrew and crew.
I know. Hey, everyone. Okay, let's see. There was a comment about, because we can switch gears here. I know I saw a what if comment, and I was going to switch gears that way. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to say about Suicide Squad, or are you good?
I think this is, in my opinion, the best installment of the DCEU. I think James really brought great direction, script writing, editing, cinematography to this movie. And I think if I think of the other DCEU movies, I just think of these glaring issues. And this one, I actually had to dig into it a little bit to find a couple of issues. It was fun. It's gory from beginning to end. And just what a ride. What a ride. This is kind of one of those things where, when you were like 10 years old and you weren't allowed to watch that type of stuff, this is the shit that you really wanted to watch.
Yes.
Like
I agree. Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's so much fun. It's definitely my favorite, like by quite a long shot, to be honest with you. Like, I just think it was so much better. And I love that. I think your letterbox is the same way. You get the Suicide Squad's book ending it, right? Like, for me, it's like Suicide Squad is the worst. And the Suicide Switch is like, says a lot. It shows, because, I mean, you're going to say all day, like, I'm not going to compare it to it. But of course, you're going to compare it a little bit. And the fact that it's infinitely better, it's just so good.
I think I'm going to ignore this comment right here about
I didn't even
Dragon
read
Ball
the
Evolution.
whole thing. I just saw the what if. So we can talk about what if, and then Dragon Ball. You don't like Dragon Ball Evolution? Is that?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So I haven't watched it. So I have zero opinions.
Just avoid.
I'll tell you what, my opinions tend to be pretty similar to yours usually, so I will take your advice there.
Yeah, we do have like some similar cadence and energy. Like I kind of like if I right after I'm done with a review and I post, I go watch yours and I'm like pretty much the same shit.
Yeah, it's very similar. So maybe I just won't watch that.
It's the one day birth date thing. It's like boom.
That's exactly it. I know. Yep. real quick. Not that. I what do you think about this casting? I think I could. I don't know.
I can get behind that.
I could get behind it. Yeah, I didn't hear that.
What was that movie she was in with Alden Ehrenreich? And what was that comedy movie? The Coen brothers did it, I think.
Yeah, I know.
What was that movie called? She was awesome in that movie, and a lot of people don't talk about her little role in that movie. It was freaking funny. She's great. And I think Marvel, I don't know what it is, but thinking of all her Natasha roles, save Infinity War and Endgame, she kind of feels like she's been in this cage the whole time. And I'm like, let her be ScarJo. Let her be ScarJo. Like, let her be, sinister or a little bit sneaky or more cunning. Because Jojo Rabbit, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent acting. I love her and Jojo Rabbit. Oh my gosh.
I know.
And then I can't think of that movie, man. Somebody let me know if you know Coen brothers. But I think she's got a range and she's got a lot, but like she kind of plays one note through most of the MCU. I'm like, well, Joss Whedon. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Listen.
Ooh.
Yeah.
When she was talking about Joss, did you see Florence Pugh's face? She was like,
yeah, she's like,
she went from like, yeah.
Well, she doesn't want to like look like she's agreeing. She's like,
oh my gosh, Maleficent Devil, Marriage Story 2. Marriage Story, yes. Have you been able to watch that again? I have not been able to watch it.
No, I can't because it's like real. Like it feels very intense. And I was like,
Deep.
but they're just both. I mean, have you watched Annette yet?
No.
Okay. But like again, like Adam Driver, like those two of them are so good that like Marriage Story is like so intense because they just go for it. Like, you know?
Yeah, it's like they go all the way.
Yeah.
Whew.
Oh, anyway, what if? Let's try to talk about what if.
Hail Caesar is the movie. Sorry to cut you off, but Hail Caesar.
Yes.
That was it. Thank you.
Yes, that's it. Yes, that's a good one too. There's so many movies like I think about. I want to like revisit when I have time, but time is that's
what is
funny.
time again?
I was just talking to Leo before we came on here about my calendar, and it's like I'm in the middle of a film festival. We've got Titans, Stargirl, Superman, and Lois. Like it's too. I've got a lot going on. I've got a lot. It's a lot. Look, James, totally agree.
Perfectly said, James.
I have to rewatch because it's exactly it.
And I haven't been married yet, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to watch
so I'm like,
this.
maybe I should avoid this. Not watch it. It's oh man. But yeah. So what if? So we've seen the first 3 episodes, but we'll only talk about the first one because it just dropped today. So there will be some spoilers in here if you haven't seen it already. But I will say, and I don't know if I think this is where we maybe do disagree, but for me, out of the 3, I still loved it, but it is my least favorite of the 3. Is that
okay? So for me, it's the middle of the pack.
Okay.
For me, the 3rd episode was my least favorite. I did like.
I know.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah.
I did really like this episode, but I think it almost feels like technically they were kind of still figuring some things out with this one. Because I think in 2 and 3, pacing's a little, and then actually, I really like the pacing, but the animation and something about the delivery of the voice acting just wasn't quite there for me. Like when Peggy was like pushing that monster through the portal, I'm like, I don't know why Steve doesn't seem so emotional about this. And maybe it's because it's not Chris Evans, but I don't.
Right.
I was just kind of like, oh, and then it was a little stiff at parts. I love that sequence where she's just like kicking ass and it's like this old timey 40s music. I love that. That was awesome.
That was great.
It would have been cool if it was in black and white.
Oh, yeah.
Dial that color, strip that color out.
That would have been cool. And I liked one of my favorite parts. Literally one of my favorite parts. It's such it's not really a throwaway line, but just when Bucky was like, "You almost ripped my arm off," I was like, I loved that. I was like, yes, I loved that they said that.
Those references, so good. But I seen somebody post on Twitter that they played it safe, and I think that it does feel very safe.
I think it's very much a first episode, right?
Yep.
They're setting up for stuff. They're like fully exploring. It's so hard to do this without like really diving into spoilers for the next 2. But I feel like they're fully diving into one story where, yes, the other 2 are one story, but we get a lot more changes. Maybe?
Yes.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
So this one is very like, okay, I get where you're going with this. I'm here for it. Plus, there's all these rumors that Captain Carter is coming to live action. So of course they want to like really focus on her.
Yeah.
I get it. And it's not to say I didn't like the episode because I did. I really enjoyed it. It just, the other ones for me, it's 2 like by a long shot.
Yeah.
And 3 then 1 for me.
2 is up there. That might be the best of the series. I was like, y'all threw that in the 2nd episode. That might be your best episode.
I think might beat it for me is whenever we get Marvel Zombies, like depending on.
Yeah, that's true. Man, that's going to be good. Peter with the Doctor Strange Spider-Man. Oh, that's going to be awesome.
That's the thing. Like there's so many things that are just, it's so fun. And I love that they did this animated. It makes total sense they went animated because they can do whatever they want.
Right. You can't really do that, bringing in all these actors and all this, but bringing in animation artists and different voice actors, which they actually have mostly the same characters voicing. I think it's just Steve, Tony, and Natasha that aren't the same, and then
Natasha's like
few others
too. It's like
right.
The other ones are like, I mean, they're obvious, but like they do a pretty good job. Natasha's like, you didn't even try. But how do you match ScarJo's voice? Like you just can't.
You just
don't even Don't even bother.
But did you feel the same in the first episode about like the emotional delivery just wasn't quite there in some parts?
I did. It could, well, especially, and maybe it's just because we watched 2 so closely after, which feels super like a lot more emotional for other reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the effect that, you know what I mean?
Maybe so, because I really liked 1. Like after watching, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like,
But then
I'm
when you
here.
get to 2, you're like, oh, then you compare it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a lot, because I've had a lot of people be like, whoa, if this is how they started off, it's going to be so good. And I'm like, oh yeah, just wait. Like,
Wait till
yes.
2. Ooh-wee.
Because it's so, I see people, I think it's out there, right? Everybody knows what it is, the second one, right? I think. I don't even know. I get nervous.
Yeah,
about
I don't
it.
know
want Marvel
either.
to come shoot me. I see people saying it in the comments, and we'll just let you be. I don't know that it's no. It didn't they just do a preview today for the next? Someone tell me, Ted.
I
Let me
didn't
know if
see
it's
nothing.
true. I don't want to say. Listen, I don't need Kevin Feige to show up at my house and take my.
Yo, bestie gonna be like, hold on now.
I know. But yeah, this one overall was good. I like the setting up of stuff.
What'd you think about just like Peggy and the lore of the serum really showing in this episode? Because she's stronger than Steve would be with that. I mean, Steve ain't flipping cars over as Captain America and like knocking guys off of bikes and well, I mean that part, but throwing her bike through the window. I'm like, damn.
She jumped right into it. They did. They made her like super, super strength, and she just dove right into it. And I did like how they, even when they were having a drink, and she was like, "Oh, it doesn't affect me because of the
right." You know? Great line from the first one.
Right, exactly. So I liked when they did that stuff, and they made it so it was similar. But because doesn't he even say, like, he asked her what it felt like, and she's like, "Oh, it wasn't a big difference." Like, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you were already."
Yeah, that's the line drop when I was like, wow, they really held that serum lore here because he's like, yeah, you were already trained, really strong. And I'm thinking, I'm like, Steve wasn't. So the enhancement did enhance him enough to where, you know, he heals fast and runs quickly and can lift a lot heavier than most average people. But Peggy is like super strong because I'm sure she was probably benching like over 200 before. So it's like, okay. Now she can just lift up cars and throw guys across the map. But this episode, what it does really well is it really displays the strong love between Peggy and Steve, because no matter what either of them look like, they still were like magnets to one another. They still work together so well. Right. And I love that this episode has them work even closer together. Like they're actually both out in the field. Like she's on the ironmonger back. And I'm just like, that's cool. Like seeing them like work in the field together, I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I really loved that a lot. And I saw someone, I don't remember if it was a comment on my video or if they tweeted or something, but I saw someone saying they wonder if it's going to come back around and if we get anything that's like with her, but it's Endgame, will like she decide to go stay with Steve? And I was like, oh, that's kind of sweet. I would like that. I did like how she's the one telling him like we have a date on Saturday, you know, stuff like that. Like it was interesting to see how much ended up similar, but also different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm trying to? Yeah, it was like.
Similar beats, similar settings, similar scenes. I mean, you even still get the zip lining. Oh my God, when she pulled up Bucky, I was like, holy shit. Yes, that was close.
So there's all that stuff. And then I think that's where I prefer the other two over it, because when things go different, I mean, they're different. Like, sure, there's maybe a little similar things here and there, but they're not. Like it, without spoiling stuff, like things completely changed with, you know,
scenarios. Are we not doing spoilers?
Well, so Ted says that there was a teaser for episode 2.
Cool.
So we know what episode 2 is. I haven't seen the teaser, but obviously it's the T'Challa episode, and that is, and it's his voice.
I'm getting a little emotional thinking
I know,
about it.
I'm already getting teary. I will tell you, don't listen. I'm going to cry. Like, don't say this stuff. So and the things that he says And the way that his impact is on the episode, that's all I will say, because I don't want to get into like super spoilery, feels so like Chadwick's impact. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna
So
cry
like Chadwick and T'Challa's impact, and
yes.
Man.
And so that's why that one is like leaps and bounds for me. It's so good. And I think they really capture that. And I know during the press junket, they said it was really emotional for them editing that one and bringing that one together because they wanted to do him. They said they wanted to honor him. They wanted to honor T'Challa. And they tried to joke a little because, of course, everyone's like about to cry. They're like, and it's not like we could do reshoots or revoice. You couldn't bring him in to run more lines. And you're like, oh, jeez, that's awful.
Right. Like
we
cherry on top of the sad cake. Damn.
Right. I know. They're like, we had to use what we had, and make it work. And because I think a lot of the lines that they chose, so that's interesting to me that obviously these were lines that were included in the original script, and they seem to really fit honoring Chadwick. I'm trying to not give spoilers, but you having seen it, you know what I mean, like especially moments towards the end.
Absolutely.
The words that he speaks are very like
they really pulled out the best of the performance and just strung it all together, and you're like, damn, he didn't miss a beat.
No, I know. And it's so good. And I love that one because of not just because of him, but of course, just because of the impact that one small change has had and the way that it has impacted everything. It's crazy.
So Jeffrey Wright's line in the first episode when Peggy's like, no, I'm just going to stay here. And he says that one decision is what changed the entire outcome of it. Talk about Twilight Zone. Like that is just so perfectly done. Like one little change. Boom, the whole universe changes. Like, it's my gosh. It's like her staying down there caused the guy that had the hidden explosive to act early. That in turn hurt Steve. That's how she got the serum.
It's crazy. It's crazy. One little thing. And that intro, I don't think this is like really a spoiler, but so it's like the same, basically. It says the same sort of thing at the beginning of which I really like because I wasn't sure if they were going to like change up his words or not. And of course he adds a little something on to the end of the like monologue, whatever, to talk about what's going to happen in that episode. But yes, it's very Rod Sterling and Jeffrey Wright even said that in the press junket. He referenced it. And I remember when I watched it, I got chilled. Like I was like, "Oh, this is like Twilight Zone stuff right here. This is so crazy."
Good.
It's so good. And again, like if you guys liked this episode, like just wait because
only the beginning.
Yeah.
Don't some of the character models look similar? So, okay, I was watching the little intro for the first time, and I thought Captain Marvel was Peggy for a second. I was like, is that Peggy as Captain Marvel? Because, like, I don't know, their character models just look the same, and, in animation, you can always borrow
in animation, it's harder to, like...
Yeah, I was like, is that Peggy? And I don't, definitely not, but it just kind of they look so similar.
Yeah.
I think it's like the hairstyles and they probably just copied.
It's just the animation style. Yeah, exactly. They're like, let's copy this and change a few things and put them here.
Also, a little depth in that. So when she came out of the device and she was Captain Carter, first glance, didn't she not look different at all? And then somebody walked up to her and you're like, oh shit.
Oh, yes. Me too. I was like, what happened?
Right. Like, she looked the same. I was like, oh, okay. And then she steps out of it and in front of somebody and they're like down here. And I'm like, oh.
And you're like, oh. Yeah, I totally was the same way. Which is funny. I'm glad that you noticed that too. Because I was like, maybe I'm just... And I was recording my reaction. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go back and look later. Like, I'm not going to talk about it because what if I'm an idiot? And everyone will be like, no, she looks totally different. And I'll be like, oh, I just missed it.
Nah, she looked the same first glance. Like
she did.
When I was doing my reaction, I was like, "Oh, Peggy kind of looked the same." Oh,
right. Oh, and he even says like, "You don't have to wear heels anymore," or something, doesn't he? And I'm like, "Oh, well, okay."
That dude, I'm like, dude, I really wish he just would have like socked him in the stomach or something.
Oh,
like
that one guy. Yeah, you lucky to be in the room. I did love that she called that back on him and was like, "You're lucky to be in the room." Like,
right? I'm like, okay, Peg.
I was like, good for you. Like, I liked that a lot. She looked the same. See, okay. I think that maybe was the point, right? Maybe They wanted her to look the same. So you're like, what happened? And then you're like, oh.
When she gets close to people, though, she's huge. She's taller than Stark. She's buffer. And it's like when she's next to people, she looks different. But then when she's like individually animated, looks about the same.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of scenes where I didn't even think that was Haley. Like, I'll be honest with you, up until probably the last final few minutes, I didn't think that was Haley Atwell.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it was like when Steve flies in. So. It's like when he flies in and she's like, oh my God, Steve, that delivery did not sound like Haley at all. I was like, what the fuck? Who is this? Is this Haley?
Who is this? I think it's hard. I went into it going like, you don't have a list of who's who yet, especially that early on. Like, so I went in like knowing, okay, some people didn't return. So you try to like nitpick it, is that this person? Is it not? And some people are trying really hard to, like, Tony Stark, it isn't, but like he does a pretty good job.
That guy kind of sounds like this. I was like, that definitely ain't Robert Downey.
Right.
He really tried though.
The Chris Evans one was pretty decent.
He was I was kind of like, this ain't Chris though.
I know.
Chris and Haley, I want to see y'all again.
I know. So I think so. I mean, there's rumor that we're gonna get her in Multiverse of Madness, right? Is that?
Yeah, I really hope so. Ooh, Haley's about to put on some great weight. Like, sure, ripped. Have you seen pictures of Natalie Portman for Thor?
No, but I'm sure she's getting.
I'm gonna send you some. She's huge.
Is she? That makes sense.
Put on some
she's gonna be Thor.
Weight. Yeah, she looks absolutely jacked. I'm like, damn, them shoulders is better than mine. Look at her.
I'm excited for her to come back, to be honest. I know a lot of people aren't, but I'm excited. And I like the Mighty Thor storyline-ish stuff. And I'm curious to see if it's like because she has cancer, like in the comics, or like what are they going to do? I'm guessing no, but they might bring in, they like to make things dark. So
yeah, I don't know if she'll have cancer necessarily. I don't know. I mean, maybe they will. Maybe Thor figures out she has cancer and like kind of comes down and visits her, and somehow she calls Mjolnir. Where's Mjolnir at? Does Thor? I can't remember.
So because he got it from the past. Remember, because Hela broke it, but then he took it. He kept it. Remember, he was standing there like this, and the mom's like, "It takes a minute."
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God! When Steve caught it, oh shit! Chill.
Oh, I know.
Because didn't he take it back? So what? Okay, so Mjolnir's with Thor then. Okay. Because I was like, what?
Thor brought it back, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, do you think they'll have him? Okay, here's a question. Do you think they'll have him lose his worth? Because that's how it happens in the comics. He's not worthy anymore.
That is how it happens.
I'm like, okay, is he not going to be worthy? Or is it going to be like, oh, she can wield Mjolnir too, so I'll just keep it with her?
Would they have him lose it again? I don't know.
Like, I'm kind of just like, is it going to be a scenario where he's calling it goes past him to her? Like,
right.
What's going to happen?
Well, because he has Stormbreaker too, so maybe he'll let her have it because she's sick. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I wonder if he'll just have like Stormbreaker as his main weapon, and maybe she'll be in trouble and Mjolnir will come to her. I don't know. I wonder how they're going to play that out.
I'm interested.
Because Fury whispered that thing in his ear in the comics, and it was like, boop.
I know.
Can't pick up Mjolnir anymore. Oh my God.
I don't know. And that's coming after. It's definitely after Multiverse of Madness. It's a little ways away still. So it depends on what they might plant this. Wait.
That's like May 2022.
And then the Guardians 3 is going to be after that.
Yep. Which, how do you feel about them having like a heavy? Apparently they're like in it. I kind of hope it's not too heavy. Like, don't pull away from like Thor, but you have like Star-Lord and Nebula.
They're in it for half an hour or something.
Yeah,
it's going to start off that they're all together because they were at the end of Endgame, and then something will happen. And
it will be awesome. I'm sure they're probably not going to do this, but like if Fat Thor starts in the movie and they just show him like on a treadmill and like lifting weights, and then months later he's just like jacked because Hemsworth is huge.
I know, he is huge.
He might be the biggest and most muscular I've ever seen for him for this movie. He is massive.
I know.
Like, damn, he can paint himself green, be the Hulk.
I know.
Shit. Move over, Ruffalo.
I'll be interested to see. Oh, and then Ted brings up a good point here. It's going to be weird to have a Thor movie without Tom. Do you think he'll make a flashback cameo? I don't think so, because I think he said that was kind of it for him and Thor. But also, you can't trust people and what they say. So, you know, I see Williams here a couple times mentioned that there's a new Shang-Chi teaser, but I'm good now. Like, I've seen a couple of full trailers. I'm trying to not.
Oh, wow, there is a new one. Yeah,
I haven't watched the last like 4. Like, I don't want the little teasers. I try not to.
You spoil yourself, you know. It's like
it's hard enough to dodge spoilers online without watching these teasers.
Yeah, I'll admit I'm probably gonna go do it.
There's too many. There's too many, I think. You know?
Oh my God. Far From Home might be the worst. It was a new TV spot almost every week. It
was like every week. Well, I guess that's why they're like, here, we're going to give you all these because we're not giving you anything for the next one.
It must be Sony, because I'm like, dude, they did the same with Homecoming. I guarantee Sony's like, ooh, let's look at our movie slate. Spider-Man. Yeah. Okay, that's about what we got. Right. Peter Rabbit 2, really? Is that going to do box office?
Well, why are they giving us anything for?
My theory is they're just going to come out and say no trailer.
You think there's going to be no trailer?
I think they're going to be like, They might give us like a little teaser that's all Tom, but I don't think we're going to get anybody else. No Alfred Molina, no Jamie Foxx, none of that. None of the Andrew Toby. I think if they really want this to be an event movie, no trailer.
I mean, I'm okay with that, except I want to do a reaction. But other than that, right? Like,
shoot, that's what I'm about to do this Shang-Chi. I'm like,
I know.
Papa needs some numbers this morning.
I'm like, well, because aren't they doing a thing? It's like, I always forget. Isn't it? It's like CinemaCon or what is it?
CinemaCon, yeah. And they're gonna show a movie, and then there's gonna be some Spider-Man stuff. Ah, man, see.
But apparently they did it for
Far From Home.
I almost said No Way Home, but yeah, Far From Home. But then they didn't release it online for like a week. Like, it was only for the people there. And I'm going to be at Disneyland that day. And I'm like, I mean, how cool would it be to do a live reaction from Avengers Campus? Like, I feel like that would be fun. So maybe drop it. So that I can do a live.
I'll tell you this, it'll be some found footage looking, but
there will be. It'll get pulled down so quick though, and I'm not putting it on my channel. I'd be so scared to get a
because they will rip it down. What was it that I think it might have been Wonder Woman 84 that like leaked all over the place, and they're just like rip.
Yeah, and then I had people like react to this on your channel, and I was like, "Are you crazy? I don't want a copyright strike." Leo knows how that goes. Do not put leaks on your channel. Don't do it. It's
pretty sure I got suspended on Twitter because of that. So just don't do it, folks.
Yeah, just don't do it. So when people try to email me and say react to this, the answer is no. It's not gonna happen.
That Lady in Heaven trailer is not getting reacted to, y'all.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. They migrated over to Instagram asking me. Remember, I got
for the Lady in Heaven.
Yeah, I got like 4 comments on my last Instagram picture, and I'm like, this has nothing to do with trailers, but sure. It was like a Happy Spider-Man Day picture, and they're like, react to Lady in Heaven.
Can you please react to the Lady in Heaven trailer? Have you seen the Lady in Heaven trailer?
First of all, it's not even relevant anymore.
Ain't the movie out? Yeah. I think the movie's out, and I'm just like, well, why would I react to the damn trailer? The movie's out.
I don't know. People are silly, Leo. People are silly. Oh, all right. It is 2:10. I've got work to do.
Me too.
And I know you got something to go react to. So stay tuned, guys, and get ready to head over to Leo's channel. He's going to be reacting to that new teaser. I'm going to avoid it at all costs.
I understand. I get it. Like it's
crazy.
It's a lot. I might even sit here, look at it, and be like, you know, I don't fucking feel like it.
It depends on how long it is too. I mean, if it's like a 30
seconds.
Yeah, see, like
little not too long, but y'all come watch Free Guy on my channel, but I don't know if I'll do this one or not.
Tess react to the Gone with the Wind trailer. Listen.
I don't need to see a bunch of racist stereotypes today. I'm good.
Yeah, they're exactly, Leo, for real. Oh man. All right. So yeah. So Listen, I don't know. I don't want to say anything about what the third episode is because I don't know what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say anything. I'll say I really liked it. I mean, I've really liked all the episodes so far. And I'm excited for more. I'm excited for zombies. I'm real excited for zombies.
Oh,
I think it's going to be end of the season, though.
Yeah.
Apparently, like, the rumor is it's episode 8. And I'm like, that
I could
feels
see
right.
that because the way things are going, I think 10 will be like a lead up.
Bite your tongue. Bite your tongue, Leo. But yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. So, all right. So on that note, for all of you out there, next week, I'm either going to not be live or it's going to be at a different time because my daughter has a appointment at exactly 1:00. Of course, it was the only time we could get her doctor's appointment. So it's the exact time I normally go live. So I'm either going to go live earlier in the day, later in the day, or maybe not at all. So just make sure you have that notification bell on so that you know Leo will be back. You'll see him again, of course. But before we go, Leo, why don't you let everyone know where they can find you?
Well, you guys can find me at Geekly Goods on YouTube and then at Leo.Rydell on TikTok and Instagram and at Rejected Leo on Twitter. Come on over, guys. We got a lot coming up. Free Guy, Titans on Friday or Thursday. Excuse me. Titans tomorrow. So, yeah, come on through.
Yeah, I'm excited to see your stuff on Titans because I'm kind of loving this so far. Like,
really?
I'm loving. I like villains, so I'm loving Red Hood. I'll put it that way. And Scarecrow too, but loving Red Hood.
Loving Red Hood.
Yeah.
Some of the other stuff though. Oof.
They haven't perfected the dialogue yet. There's some one-liners that you're just like, did they really just, was that the words that they used? The actors were like, okay, I'll speak those words. Like, I don't.
There's one I just have glaring in my head and I'm like,
right.
Yeah. Why did you say that?
There's a few. There's one I want to talk to you about when we get off here. There's one I'm going to ask you if you've gotten to that episode yet. Because I was like,
I think you might know.
It's crazy. But anyway, I've got Titan stuff coming up too, guys. Also, Free Guy. I'm going to see it Thursday night. I'm going to try to go ahead and get my review up Thursday night. But if not, it'll be Friday morning.
Yeah.
So stick around. And thanks, guys. And I'll see you soon. I'm real quick read in the comments. Thank you, everybody. What if Marvel crossed into the DC universe? That's a great way to end it. I would love it. Let's